ICE is preparing to launch another brutal crackdown, this time in Maine. The agency says it's going after the worst of the worst, but in reality, it's kidnapping preschoolers. Yesterday, ICE said it was launching something it's calling Operation Catch of the Day. Now, before we even get into this, referring to an operation to kidnap and detain people as Operation Catch of the Day is nothing short of racist, dehumanizing rhetoric. The people ICE is going after are our neighbors, not fish. Dehumanizing entire groups of marginalized people is the kind of rhetoric that creates the pretense for violence, violence that is happening right now. In this press release, ICE says it's going after criminals who have committed crimes like aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and endangering the welfare of a child. Ironically, these are all things that ICE has actually done and is currently doing. ICE isn't going after criminals. This is who ICE is going after.
The Columbia Heights School District says that 4 of their students have been detained by ICE agents over the last few weeks, including a 5-year-old boy who was taken into custody on his way home from school yesterday afternoon. School officials say Liam Ramos was riding home with his father when federal agents approached their car. Family members say they didn't know where he was for nearly 24 hours. But their lawyer confirms that the 5-year-old is now being held at a detention facility in Texas. School officials confirm at least 1 other student is currently detained in Texas, and they are working to locate 2 other students who were taken by ICE.
ICE is taking preschoolers away from their family. They're kidnapping kids, using them as bait, and then whisking them away to go to places where we already know have dangerous and inhumane conditions. And that's for adults. And this little boy is 5, and he doesn't have his family with him. And he and they are probably terrified right now. Knowing that Liam is who ICE is actually talking about makes this story all the worse. But the reality is that no one deserves to be treated this way. The way that ICE terrorizes communities, brutalizes our neighbors, and commits all of these injustices without any shred of due process, it means that it doesn't matter whether you're here legally, what your immigration status is, or even what crimes you may have committed in the past. This racist violence has to stop. Liam was taken by ICE agents in Minneapolis, where operations aren't scaling down, they're just ramping up. But this new operation is specifically being targeted at Maine in cities like Portland. At the same time, news outlets like ABC are reporting that they've obtained a whistleblower complaint from inside ICE. ABC reported that this ICE memo issued in May authorizes agents to enter the homes of those suspected of being in the US illegally with an administrative warrant, not a warrant signed by a judge, in order to make arrests. This violates the Fourth Amendment. This is obviously just a pretense to continue this reign of terror in even more invasive and frightening ways. It's a huge overreach and it's terrifying, which is exactly why it's being disseminated to ICE agents in a secretive memo. At the same time that ICE is preparing to terrorize Maine, the AP is reporting that military police have been told to get ready for a possible Minneapolis deployment. This is in addition to about 1,500 active duty soldiers who have received similar standby orders, as well as Trump threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act, which would allow him to use these troops as law enforcement. And for what it's worth, ICE isn't even helping in the actual detaining or prosecution of criminals. The Guardian reported that ICE let a suspect in a $100 million jewelry heist flee the US by self-deporting. This was suspected to be the largest jewelry heist in US history. He was facing up to 15 years in federal prison, but in December he was deported. His attorney then motioned for the charges to be permanently dropped and have the entire case closed. While all of this is going on, people in Minneapolis, Maine, and around the country aren't just sitting idly by and doing nothing. They're furious, and they're doing everything they can to stop ICE. They're counter-patrolling them on their streets, protecting their neighbors, delivering essential resources, raising money, and fighting back in any way they can. And the polls reflect this. New data in the New York Times asked respondents, do you approve or disapprove of how ICE is handling its job? And on a scale from strongly approve to strongly disapprove, the numbers are pretty definitive. Across the board, there's majority disapproval. When it comes to white respondents with a college degree, 59% strongly disapproved of ICE, 41% with no college degree, 67% with non-white and a college degree, and an enormous 72% strongly disagreed from the non-white respondent pool with no college degree. These numbers reflect how people actually feel, as well as what's happening on the ground. ICE agents have been circling schools, buses, and neighborhoods. Student absenteeism has surged 20 to 40% in places like the Twin Cities. Families are afraid to go outside, kids are afraid to go to school, and entire communities have been shaken to their roots by what ICE has been doing. The idea that ICE is targeting violent criminals is a racist fiction. The reality is that families are the ones really being terrorized, and ICE is the violent criminal in question. This goes beyond government overreach. This is state terror. Communities are being forced to protect themselves because institutions won't.